This is Greg, aka Crazy G, with NECR New England Concert Reviews, and today we have another phenomenal artist. He is the front man for the Grammy-nominated and Grammy Award-winning rock band Skillet. He is none other than Mr. John Cooper. Hello, welcome. What is going on, and how are you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thank you. It's great to chat with you guys. Great to be on.
Excellent. Very pleased to have you on, let me add.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you so much.
I always like to hear from the artists themselves on the history of the band. So why don't we start off by having you tell us briefly about Skillet the band?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, Skillet the band. Let's see. Started in Memphis, Tennessee in '96. I can't believe that we've been lucky enough to be around for 20 years. But lucky getting to rock. And, it's just great that we're still touring. The fans have still stuck with us so long and getting to come on, like, wicked tours like this. First time out with Korn. So we're living the dream, man. Just having a good time.
I read up a lot on you the past couple days. Where do we even begin? Skillet has achieved and built quite a resume thus far. More so recently for your newest CD called Unleashed. What do you want to tell us about this CD?
Yeah, Unleashed. After it's our 9th record, so you always want to kind of try something new. You got to be yourself. Hopefully you have a sound and fans that are looking for something, from you. So you don't want to lose those fans, but you still want to try new stuff. You want to keep making the same record over and over, So I'll always like to get in the studio and go, man, let's try something getting done before. And for Unleashed, I think, and it's part of the reason we called it Unleashed, a lot of Skillet stuff in the past has been very lyrically, I would say, cerebral and, a little bit heavier on the lyrics, talking about issues and, the problems of the world and yada yada. And I really felt on this record I didn't want to do that. I thought, it'd be really cool to have a Skillet record that wasn't that way. That was just like a turn it on and forget your problems, kind of what I call like a workout album. I don't know if you know what I mean, but I love to work out, and every time I go to the gym, I feel like pretty much what I want to hear is Back in Black, again, over and over and over. I'm not really looking to like, listen to U2 or something that's going to like change the world when I'm just trying to, pump some iron. I just want to have fun, and I wanted to make a fun record. So that's kind of why we called it Unleashed. It's a very exciting record. It's fun. It's got some things on there that were just, it was like, why not just rock out a little bit? And I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, it is. It's really a cool CD. I have quite a few tracks off Unleashed that I seriously like a lot. Feel Invincible, Back from the Dead, and Out of Hell. Although an artist loves all their work, could you pick out a specific track or tracks for yourself that you like or love to play more than any other off this CD, and why?
Sure. Let's see. Out of Hell is actually my favorite to play, probably because it's our most like metal track, and it's something people weren't really expecting from Skillet. And some of the licks on there are, they're kind of difficult. And in fact, I wrote this song with Kevin Churko. Kevin Churko is the producer. He did all the Five Finger Death Punch records, and not the latest Papa Roach, but the one prior. And In This Moment, he's and Ozzy, and he's a great metal guy. So the parts that we wrote were kind of quite difficult. And I like playing it live because a lot of people don't know that Skillet can play like that, because a lot of our stuff is just, it's not really about the riffs, it's about, the vocals and the lyrics, and it's kind of cool every once in a while to show off a little bit. So that's kind of the truth of that one. It's fun to show off. Out of Hell's a great one to play live. Feel Invincible is a great one to play because that's the radio song. So whenever you have people singing a song, that's when you're having fun. You can break away from the microphone and hear the crowd sing back at you. That's a beautiful place to be.
Yeah, it is. I can only imagine. According to a press release from April of this year, Skillet is tearing it up with Unleashed, earning 3 Billboard Music Award nominations, and it debuted at number 3 Billboard Top 200 album chart. The latest single, Back from the Dead, continues to climb the charts, hitting number 9 on the Active Rock chart and number 10 on the Billboard's Christian Rock chart. The new single comes on the heels of the debut track, Feel Invincible, that went to number 1 at Active Rock Radio. You are Grammy nominated and have won 2 Grammys for the band's Platinum Certified Away. Although many might not think every CD will be great and do well, did you or the band honestly expect Unleashed to do so well out of the gate?
Right. Oh man, I've kind of come to try not to have expectations, because sometimes you think it's going to go great and doesn't, So, I think the honest truth was I didn't know. I knew that our fans were going to like it, but, these days, records aren't selling quite like they used to, and rock is not quite as commercial as it was 10 years ago. You just don't really know. But I did did think our fans are going to like this record. It might take a little while to get to them. We got to get some radio, and I think the radio embraced it in a huge way, but our fans really embraced it. So I have to admit, I was very pleasantly surprised. Did not expect it to do that well, and I owe a lot of favors to a lot of people who really NFL was a big one because they picked up the song early on, and I think a lot of people went, "Wow, NFL's playing it. It must be good," and so they started playing the song. So I owe them a lot. WWE, I owe a lot. Radio. So anyway, I gotta give credit to all those people, and then mainly the fans. But I've just found as long as you make your fans happy, it doesn't really. I don't want to say it doesn't matter. I mean, you want to sell a lot of records, and platinum records are great, gold records are great, but you can have a career as long as you keep making those fans happy, and that's really all I want to do. So if it goes really big or moderately, as long as I can make my core happy and I can enjoy, seeing them at the show, and they can enjoy coming back again, that's what's kept us in business.
Nice. Makes perfect sense. Where do you personally see this CD against the backdrop of everything that Skillet has done through its existence? In other words, do you see this CD as possibly being the best CD Skillet has ever produced?
I think that what I've kind of come to try to do for Skillet is not think of in terms of if it's the best. It's more kind of like, is it the best for this time period? I know that sounds like a non-answer. It sounds like I should run for office, political office. But what I mean is, for instance, it's a little bit like when, maybe the new Star Wars movie comes out. It's never going to really be as good as the originals, but they can't go back and make them look quite like the originals because effects are better now, and culture has changed, and all those kinds of stuff. So I think the fact that culture has changed and people are beginning to listen to a lot of diversity in their music, I think it's been the best that we could make now, because there's a lot of influences on this album that may not have been appropriate 10 years ago on one of our records. So I'm very excited about the album. I do think it was a little bit of a rebranding for us, because our Awake record was 2009 release, was our biggest album, and but this is a little bit of a rebranding, a little bit of a genre change, and really brought us back to radio. So I think it's the best we could do now.
Very good points on all of that. As mentioned, Skillet has and continues to do so much. You yourself joined Marvel's Playback to speak about your love for comics and the lessons you learned from their stories and heroes. Man, as a kid myself, let's just say, if I had some of those comics today, I loved and continue to love comics. Can you expand on this connection between you and Marvel's Playback a little more? And what is your favorite comic?
Sure. Yes, a lot of people have asked me, how did this Marvel connection happen? And the truth is, I don't really know. It was like one of those, somebody that knew somebody that had a kid whose, best friend liked Skillet. It was one of those kinds of things. I'm not sure how it happened, but I was thrilled because I am a comic nut. Spider-Man has always been my favorite comic, especially during the 80s. Late 80s, Spider-Man got really cool and dark, and that's when, for people who care, the character of Venom was created in the mid kind of to late 80s, and it just got to be a really cool, dark series. And I just always loved comics. I loved X-Men and Thor and Iron Man and all that. And the Marvel thing was really cool because I think when we met everybody, we went out to their headquarters just to take a tour, which was really nice of them. And I think that they were a little, I don't think alarmed, but I think surprised at my knowledge of comic books and my love for it. They're like, wow, this guy's really into it. And it kind of created this thing where we got to meet, and they came into my house and got to see my toy collection, my figurines and my comic collection, and it was a really cool thing. How it has to do with Skillet's music, I think that Skillet's music has always had a very kind of youthful appeal to it. There's something about it that's just, I think it's probably my personality. I'm like, for instance, we're on the Korn tour, and I get to be backstage and meet the bands, and I still feel like a kid, listening to rock music. I love to go watch the bands play and rock out with everybody, and I think comics are a little bit like that for me. You've kind of got the drama of good versus evil, and it's comic books and WWE wrestling are kind of the same thing to me. It's kind of like dress up. You dress up as a character, and WWE, you have a special move. It's like a finishing move. Video games, all those things are kind of the same deal for me. It's drama and it's theater, and that's what Skillet's music is like to me. Our music is very theatrical. Say Queen, Fleetwood Mac, and Meatloaf, and you put some of that in with metal, you get Skillet.
And listen, man, I'm right there with you with all three of them. I grew up on comics, wrestling, and video games, and I swear by all three today, believe it or not. Back from the Dead was used in Sci-Fi's new series Blood Drive, the episode featuring the Skillet track, which was on the premiere of the June 14th show, which must have been super cool in itself. When did you learn this was going to happen, and what was your reaction to it?
I learned it was going to happen probably like last December, and I was freaking out. I was like, get me in the episode. I want to act in it. I mean, when I read the script, I was thrilled. I love using sync, for movies or TV shows, and I think that stuff is awesome. And I love science fiction in general. I'm a huge, like comic books, sci-fi, all that kind of stuff goes hand in hand. Battlestar Galactica is my favorite TV show of all time, and so the newer one, the 2003 or 2000s one. And so I was very excited about it, and needless to say, I did not get called to go act in the episode, but that would have been pretty cool.
You kind of answered this one. Skillet has just finished up an extended tour for Unleashed, and you were and are doing festivals all over the place as well. Skillet is doing more than a handful of dates with Korn and Stone Sour on the Serenity of Summer tour. This is kind of a three-part question, but you already answered it. What have the festivals been like so far? What do you want to tell us about doing these shows with Korn and Stone Sour? And lastly, you have a date tomorrow here, I believe, at the Blue Hills Bank Pavilion in Boston. What would you like to say about that show?
Well, summer festivals are so much fun. I love getting to watch the bands. But not only that, it's just, you know what it is? It's the vibe of summer festivals that just feels, it wouldn't be summer without it. You get to look out, you get to see the families there, and everybody's having fun, and the sun, and I don't know, funnel cakes, all the crappy, like, fair food.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It just reminds me of being a kid, and it's a good, like, American summer thing to do. That's how I feel about it. So I love it. Tour is awesome. The bands are absolutely sick. I mean, you couldn't really ask to be out with better bands, and a lot of really nice folks. I know people listening don't necessarily care about that part, but it's cool when you're out with bands who treat each other good, and it's not egos. People are punching each other backstage because they think they deserve more stage time. You know what I mean? Everybody treats each other good, and I'm lucky to be on the tour, make some new fans. So I'm doing my best to bring a great show, all my energy, all my guts into the show, and hopefully make some new fans.
Awesome. I think you most definitely will. Skillet has made a huge name for itself in the music world thus far. You do numerous things outside of music as well. Other than what we discussed, is there anything else Skillet possibly has in the works next that we might not know about? Any plans for anything else in the near future?
Well, I do think that the next year or so is going to be some brand new things. I probably can't say what they are, but you'll be the first place I've said it. There will be some new things that will happen that are not Skillet related, that will be new ventures and exciting stuff. So probably can't say what they are now, but we are working on some of those things now.
That's awesome. I want to take the time, Mr. John Cooper, frontman for the rock band Skillet. I thank you so much. NECR thanks you. I know you're behind schedule, so I'm going to let you go. Take it easy. Good luck. I wish you the best, and, keep on rocking, man.
Thank you. It's great to chat with you, and have a great one, man.
All right.
Later.
Peace.
Yeah, you too, buddy. Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was frontman John Cooper for the rock band Skillet. Check them out. Check out their newest CD called Unleashed. It's definitely worth a listen. They are also going to be playing at the Blue Hills Bank Pavilion tomorrow night in Boston. That's about it for this one, people. I'll be back. Peace. Later.